What is going on, everybody? We have the meta snapshot for set 8.5. This is going to be patch 13.6, which is the first patch, and we have 8 comps for you guys, plus a few others listed out. We'll be populating this list much more in the future. But right now in the S tier, we have Vex, by far just the best comp right now. Lasercorps is pretty solid. Anima Misfortune still a good option if you like that last set. Jhin's a new 4 cost on the block, that's good. Spellslingers are great because they have multiple carry options. Duelists, it's the same Duelist as before with Lockets. Threats are decent. There's also like some reroll comps such as Draven. I'm missing a lot of them, so they will be populated throughout the week. Infiniteam and Warwick, and then like right now bad comps to avoid is like Samira's not that great right now. Gnar reroll could be a little better, but of course if you get like perfect games for them, like you can still kind of do it, but it's just like a fair warning. So first comp going up here is going to be Vex Reroll. So Mascot is so strong right now. So you really just need like 3 supers and 4 Mascot. You may have noticed something a little funky already, and that's we are not playing 3 Riftwalker. Like, of course you could if you get it, but since you're a reroll comp, you really just want to get a lot of 3 stars in the game instead. So priority is going to be the Mascots, Malphite being the main tank, supers, it's going to activate all your damage, and then of course Vex. Pike is easy to get in case you want to have the option of throwing in Riftwalker later, and then like Nasus, Gangplank if you are able to get them. As always, we have good augment recommendations on the right-hand side. Trait ones are really good, healing ones are really good, and we have recommended item recipes on the right here. We also do have the how to play section down here, along with the requirements, item holders, and all that. And you can check all that out on the website, bunnymuffins.lol/meta. And then we also have other item recommendations in case you can't get like the perfect items here. I'd say like the only mandatory item is probably like the blue buff, but even then, like I've seen you could kind of get away with not having it. Of course, you would rather have it though. There's actually a joke going around right now that the best hero augment for this comp is Joy Siphon, because you just siphon the joy out of everyone else playing in your game, which I thought was pretty funny. On to the next build, we have Lasercorps. So Lasercorps, especially 5 or 6, if you're able to activate that, that's where the comp really shines. So they're making a great comeback, even though the trait got changed a ton. It's going to revolve around Warwick as your main carry. You also have Hacker that you could jump in and out. We'll add the Hacker positioning a little bit later, but again, augments on the right, item recipes on the right as well. You just really need 5 Lasercorps. So getting Lasercorps Emblem or Heart is just pushes this comp into like S tier, you know, or S plus tier, because it's so much easier to hit these thresholds, and that's really where the power comes from. On Warwick, a lot of teams can't kill him, so you just build Titan's Resolve to stack up, and then he just perma heals and no one can kind of kill them. Even with anti-heal, I've seen him live. And we list that out in the requirements here. 3 Warwick items are the requirements and must-have healing items. So how to play, much like set 8 Lasercorps, this comp oftentimes begins with 3 Lasercorps plus Brawlers into 5 Lasercorps in the late game, and then you could use other carries to kind of hold your items until you find your Warwick. Jax is probably going to be one of the more popular options. And again, you just want best in slot Warwick items, no one else kind of really matters that much. And the core, of course, is just 5 or 6 Lasercorps, because again, all the power comes from the trait. On to the next build, we have Misfortune Anima Squad. This comp got a little bit changed because MF is now also a quick draw, and then Vayne is no longer a recon. But overall, the comp pretty much plays the same. You want to get to like 5 or 7 Anima with like spatulas, emblems, things like that. Riven's going to be your main carry. If you could 3-star her, great. If not, just level up and like play legendaries to tank for you instead, or like use Echo and stuff. MF, same items as before, Shojin, and then random AP items like Jeweled Gauntlet, Hat, like things like that. We have Guard Breaker there too, because there is like a decent amount of shielding in the game right now, but like Giant Slayer works, Gunblade works, pretty much anything works on it, just any AP items. Augment recommendations down here in case you like reading it that way, because I have heard like both feedback on that. And then you could also do a Vayne carry and use Spread Shot. So for that, you want to go like AD and attack speed items on Vayne. Next build up we have is Jhin Renegades. So this one is going to be the new Renegade comp. So remember how last set Viego kind of lacked like a secondary carry and you kind of had to manually do it yourself? Well, now there are 2 Renegade carries, and that's going to be Viego and Jhin. So they're going to pair up really well together. You want to run at least 3 Renegade. We have 4 up right now because obviously like Leona's really good. You always want to play her. If you have like one of the emblems, like you obviously need Camille in for 5 Renegade, things of that nature. Main tank, you don't really need a main tank. It's kind of Viego. Like Ionic Spark and Titan's Resolve are like kind of tank items, and then just all AD items on Jhin. Last Whisper, i.e. Giant Slayer, pretty much like the same AD itemization as we've had in previous sets. But again, you can read the full how to play section on your free time. Next up we have is the A tier. So again, we'll be updating more comps. because the game just came out, it's really polarizing in terms of like which comps are good and which comps are bad right now. So just keep that in mind. That's why there isn't like 50 billion comps listed like we normally have. But in the A tier, we have Spellslinger. Great part about this comp, again, is that you have 2 different options for your main carry. You could do Nico or TF. We will warn you that this comp is a little bit harder to play than everything else because you kind of mix and match your comp depending on what you hit. For example, if you're going like primarily Nico carry, you want to add in some Star Guardian somehow. Maybe you want to play like the Gadgettine with Prankster sometimes. Sometimes you don't hit Janna or Syndra, so what do you do there? So there are a lot of different decision-making checkpoints that you kind of have to like analyze whenever you're playing this comp. And as per usual, you just need some sort of magic resist shredding. So TF is great for that because he is one of the best static Shiv holders in the game. So you don't really need the Ionic Spark if you have the Shiv. But of course, if you don't get that on your TF, like, yeah, build the Ionic Spark. Lots of good item holders over here. You have 3 cost carry options, which is LeBlanc, Sona, and Kai'Sa, so that really stabilizes your mid game a lot. So again, the comp is really flexible. You could go into like reroll comps if you get like a good LeBlanc admin, for example. There's honestly like so many directions you could go in this comp, so definitely like keep that in mind when you're playing this. Next build up we have is Duelists. This is the same Duelist as of old. You just build Locket on Nyla and then put AD items on Vayne. And it's even better now because if you get AP items, you could just throw them on Twisted Fate as like your late game carry, and he's better than Zed. So Zed, he's really good in the early to mid game because he jumps in and kills everyone. But once he can't do that, he's pretty much useless. He's just like a 4-cost tank that's not a tank unit. Luckily now, TF, he's just going to shred everything from the backline, ramp up like the 6 Duelist attack speed buff, or 8 Duelist if you manage to get that, and it's going to be really, really juicy. Obviously, Locket's the main item, so prioritize those as much as you can. It's a great top 4 comp, so don't expect to win that much when you play this comp, but you know, if you get like a 4th, 3rd, a lot of times that's like one way people can kind of climb. So again, you want at least 6 Duelists because it really buffs up TF and Vayne, and re-rolling for Vayne 3 and Nyla 3 is kind of like your win con if you do manage to like get really high up in some games. So there still are options to win. It's just a little more difficult compared to the other comps with higher caps. Nyla items, like just as many Lockets as you can. We have TF item recommendations down here. Vayne, it's pretty much just AD and AS items, and yeah, you're good to go from there. Next up we have is Threats. So Threats, Aatrox carry is actually such a beast. He's the new Zac, essentially. Zac's still in the game technically, but Aatrox is like the HP tank. So if you ever get like Warmogs plus Titans on him, he's just an absolute monster. I watched some people coach others recently, and like they played Aatrox, it was just an absolute beast. You just play the other threat units, of course. If you get threat level maximum, it's great. Bel'Veth carry likes Lifesteal, Titan's Resolve, like Edge of Knight's pretty good if you want her to survive a bit. And then of course, Urgot is great for the late game. Fiddlestick, same thing. Morgana, really good for shredding everyone. Rammus, you just kind of play Rammus, and then Aesol if you need some anti-heal. So like Shojin's gonna be the main items on him, just to kind of put the health debuff on everyone. Next build up we have is Sureshots. Sureshots are pretty bad right now, so we're gonna leave it in the B tier. Voidson was actually saying it might actually be C tier, but we'll be a little more generous right now, leave it in the B tier. Don't play it unless you get perfect start for it and like pretty much hit everything for free. So we'll be updating, like there are a lot of other comps that are missing, and we have them kind of listed out at the top over here. So we will be updating this next week, of course, and every week after that for the entire set. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed this, and I hope to see you all in the next video.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and of course smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.